Blue Water Studios started in 2000, and in that time, Blue Water Studios has recorded, give or take, 2,000, maybe a little over 2,000 episodes of animated television, and several video games and projects of all types. Looking for new voice talent. You know, it was an opportunity to start working with all these different voice talent that no one had heard before. And from a Calgary standpoint, it was just opportunities that never existed before for audio engineers, people wanted to be voice directors, and actors. Actors have had a lot of opportunities because of Blue Water Studios. Yeah, that's a question we get a lot, is what advice I would give someone coming into the booth for the first time. And first and foremost, it's energy. Because every director would prefer someone coming in with a bit more energy and have to pull them back. Because if you're constantly pushing energy, it's a bit like pushing a rock up a hill, and you're constantly trying to drive that energy, and it gets very tiring. So we look for energy, and we look for people that are able to take direction, people who have, good acting instincts as well. Obviously, if you're a trained actor, you're coming in with some sort of a background that we can work off of. And then, it's really about how you are to work within the booth, how easy it is to sort of unlock yourself from the reads that you've prepared and try something that the director is pushing you toward. It falls on the director to develop or help the actors to sort of develop new skills or get more comfortable in the booth. So really it's all about, as a director you have to get to know the people you're working with. And as a director you kind of have this toolkit that you can draw on. And it's all the stuff that you've built up over the years of working, and you sort of get to know the actor and go, I really think this sort of strategy is going to work with this actor. And you try that out and you see how it works. And different situations call for different things. Sometimes you'll try something and it'll work for certain parts of what you're working on, and then maybe the actor will respond better to something else. You try a different approach. But it's really just about, doing everything you can to give the actor the best chance to succeed. Well, every session's a little different, but basically, what would be a normal session? Well, you get the actor in there, you kind of give them a quick rundown on how things are going to go for the day, and then you just get started. And, myself, I like to let the actors give me the first read of each line, and then I work from there, and I direct them from there, because I want to give the actor a chance to do something that maybe I haven't thought of, and maybe it'll work better than what I want to do at the line. And then we just sort of work together to get something that sounds really good. Or if I don't feel the instinct that the actors brought is going to work within the scene, because I'm sort of the one that has got the most familiarity with the script, then I'll just push them in the direction I think they need to go. Well, the actors, they're seeing those lines for the first time often, and they're, what's challenging is they don't necessarily know all the storylines. Their character, it's not really linear. Their character's not in every scene, in every line, in every show. So they're kind of jumping. Sometimes they might jump 5 or 10 pages in a script. They might not really know what's going on or what the other actors might do later. So that's a challenge. And as a director, you need to know what's going on so you can get the right read. Because if you're the last person in a recording block and we have all the other actors recorded, then we can hear those other actors. So the person I'm working with can respond to the actors that we've already recorded. But if you're the first actor in, there's no one to respond to. So it's the director's job to know what the other actors are going to do so that the actor you're working with now is going to give a read that's going to work in that scene. And that's the challenging part. Yeah, so ADR, or dubbing, is what we do here. This is the same thing. And basically when you're dubbing, you have a script that has someone who's gone through, they've rewritten the script to work in English. And then there's time codes. So someone has gone through and put a time code down for every time someone starts speaking. So we just go time code by time code for a certain actor. We have one actor in at a time generally, and we just do all that actor's lines in a row. We go to the time code, and at that point you'll hear 3 beeps, and on the imaginary 4th beep, if there was a 4th beep, that's where the actor starts talking. And that's the process. We do it 1,000 times a day. There are worse ways to make a living. That's what it comes down to. I like coming in. I enjoy my job. I have a lot of fun. Working with the actors, the engineers, the writers, everyone. I think when you work in a creative industry, you're really lucky if you're sort of come from a creative background and that you work with a lot of like-minded people. So you get along with people, you enjoy the time that you spend together. So I mean, for me, I keep doing this because I enjoy it. You know, why would I go somewhere else? And, you know, I think, and when you're in a city, as long as I am, working professionally, you have opportunities to go different places. But at the end of the day, when you think about it, it's like, am I going to enjoy coming to work every day at that other place, in that other industry? Or is it going to be, you know, the 9 to 5 grind? And so you stick with what you like doing. Yeah, sure. I think it's quite tight knit. I mean, a lot of the actors I work with today, I started working with like 17 years ago when I first started this. Some of them have been with us that long. Some of them I started working with when they were 12, 13 years old, and now they're in university or graduated from university. So, you know, one of the kids I worked with is a lawyer now, and so, you know, I've spent, you know, close to 20 years with a lot of these people. So it is close-knit. We do know each other very well. And I hope and I think that it helps the work that we do here because we're so comfortable with each other. Well, we have a casting department that does a good job. And I do work with them, but the casting department does a great job at that. But basically what you're looking for is you bring in people that you feel probably have a voice that might work, who maybe they've maybe done characters in the past who are similar, or that you feel have a similar flavor, and then they come in with their instincts for the character. We direct them, and we try to get a really good audition from them. But basically, you get sort of a sampling of a few different actors, and then oftentimes you'll send a short list to the clients, and they'll choose, or sometimes the client will put it into our hands to choose. Yeah, the most rewarding part, there's a few. There's kind of a few different things. Working with actors when they're maybe not as experienced and you're really pushing them hard, but you see growth and you see forward progress, that's really rewarding. From a standpoint of shows, some shows they're just difficult. They're just a little tougher for whatever reason, and it might be the subject matter, or I don't know, maybe there's songs in it, or maybe it's a really young cast, or you know, there's just different challenges. But when you're putting in the work and it's turning out, and then you watch it back, and maybe you watch the mix back down the road once everything's put in place, and it turned out really well, that's really rewarding. And then there's the odd project that for whatever reason just, you know, I enjoy working on all my projects, but there'll be this certain thing that for whatever reason just really appeals to you. Some people you can calm down pretty quickly, some will never calm down. Some just, you know, they get too nervous, and we try to be really welcoming, especially, you know, in the very first general audition. I appreciate the fact that actors are taking time out of their day to come in and try this out. Maybe they've never done voice acting before, and you know, they may come from a theater background or film background or what have you, and broadcast background. But when they get in here, it's a little different. The headphones are on mic, you know, and there's people they've never met before. Sometimes you just can't make them relax, and it's too bad. You know, we really try. But then other times, you know, you do a couple of takes and you just kind of relax and get them to take a couple deep breaths, and it works out really nicely. Yeah, when we start working with people and they're new, we expect to take a bit more time, and there's a bit more training involved, and that's okay. You know, we're very comfortable doing it, and we like doing it. Again, it's like I was saying earlier, when you see the work that you're putting in sort of bearing fruit, you know, and the actors are getting better, they're getting more comfortable, their instincts are getting better, they're trusting the director, so they're going as far as the director needs them to go in emotional scenes or, you know, fight scenes or whatever. You know, it's very rewarding. So yeah, we definitely put in a lot of work with our actors. And you know, we have a lot of experienced actors too who don't need that training, who really, they come in and it's, you ask them what they need to, what you'd like them to do, and they just do it and they knock it out of the park right away. Well, it's tough. Again, everyone's different, but really it's just a matter of, you know, I think how I look at it is you don't give up on the actor. Even if they're having a tough time with a couple lines, you just don't give up. You just work with them. Obviously, working with our experienced people, it can be pretty easy, you know. But then you work with some new people, and you always need new voices. You know, things get stale if you don't have new voices. And so you bring them in, and you just put in the work. You get to know them. You get to know how they respond. And then after that, if they have the right attitude, they really want to do the work, and they're coming in ready to learn, it's really not that challenging. Yeah, sure. So myself and Jonathan Love, another actor in town, we started teaching workshops a few years back because we were constantly being asked about how to get into it and where they would go to learn to do this. And there just wasn't a place to learn how to do specifically voicing for animation. So myself and Jonathan, being the two people that were constantly being asked to do this, we started teaching workshops. And through that, a lot of the people that we work with today have actually come through that because they come in prepared for the auditions. They come in understanding what the requirements are going to be. I think a lot of that's word of mouth. I think actors see an opportunity like this where they're doing professional work. They're getting paid to do it, and the work is actually being broadcast. People can see it. They see that opportunity. And, in Calgary, there are acting opportunities, but there's not always acting opportunities. There's not always a film in town. There's not always a series in town. So the actors need more opportunities, and this is one other place they can be getting professional paid work. So I think in a lot of ways, just the ability to come in here, work with professionals, and get a paycheck, I think that goes a long way. And I think the actors just sort of talk with each other and they start coming in. And I hope that the reputation that we have helps as well. I mean, we're busy. We have a lot of shows coming through. I don't know. I mean, the Vancouver market isn't my market. Calgary is our thing. I think we're putting out a lot of work, and we put in a lot of work to our shows to make sure they're very high quality. And we hope that, we would love the amount of work to come through here as Vancouver's had in the past. But we're very busy. We have a lot of stuff coming through the door every day. When you've done as many shows as I have, you just sort of, I know lots of them, but it's tough for me because whatever show I'm working on, I'm as invested in as every other show. So it's, I don't have favorites. But yeah, Dragon Ball was huge. Dragon Ball was big for us because it was airing all the time, and we did a lot of episodes of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball GT over the years. That was great. And that's the one that also brings a lot of people through the door. Actors grew up watching that show, and they want to work here because they love that show. We did quite a few Gundam series for a while, which was really nice. Again, a really well-known show, or a bunch of shows, a bunch of different series. Let's see. Yeah, there's, I don't know, it's hard to say. There's so many. Yeah, the very first show I directed was the second half, I think starting at episode 25, probably 25, of a show called Law of Ueki. The director who I was working with went to the National Film Board, so I just took over the show. And that was quite a while ago, probably 2004, 2005. And so I would direct on and off. I would direct some, and then I would engineer some, and just sort of bounce around. And nowadays I mostly direct them. I don't know that I really have influences from a voice direction standpoint. But when I watch anything animated, anything that there's voice actors working on, I do really pay attention to voice performances, and I really pay attention to things that stand out that I might have done differently. That's the same thing when I watch my shows. I'm less looking for stuff that I like about these things, and I'm more looking for stuff that I feel doesn't work or could be better, or reads that just don't fit. Because I think you learn more from that than you do from the stuff that works. So yeah, I don't think I really have influences from a voice direction standpoint, but I certainly have people I've learned from that I've worked with. Especially, I was really lucky because I started as an audio engineer. I worked with directors every day, and I kind of learned on the fly. And because I worked with so many different directors, I think I did develop a style through them. I think I took what I liked about how they directed. So in that way, I think I did sort of have mentors, even though they weren't directly mentoring me to become a director. Just spending all that time with them, you just pick up on what works and what doesn't work. Breakfast cereal. I don't eat cereal. Yeah, I don't eat cereal. I'm an egg guy.